Hello, my name is Kobe Terashima, and I'm going to be talking about my ethnographic report on micron technology and emergency services, to be more specific. To start, micron began in 1978. It started with four people that basically created a semiconductor in a basement in the dental office of a dental office in Boise, Idaho. Um, that's where the headquarters still are in Boise, Idaho. What they do so more now is they develop and make memory stores and solutions. So they kind of developed over time throughout periods of time of making new and new products. A lot of the phones that you use, laptops, Apple products, are using the memory stores and solutions that Micron has actually made. And the emergency services side is where I'm going to mainly be focusing more so. And they just make sure everything operates smoothly and safely within the whole Micron work site and COVID and stuff dealing with that. Micron does a very good job of donating within their communities and around the world as well. They donated $24 million to charity organizations worldwide, and they also donated another $10 million to help with COVID-19 in the past year, 2021. Micron really values themselves on diversity. They think of themselves as a more of a personal business. They like to have the core value of people first, to put their employees first, relationships with each other first. They like to have a very engaging work environment where everybody kind of gets a say or like a voice into it and to say their feelings, their thoughts, and their emotions. And they like to think of this more of like an ethical, diverse, inclusive type of workforce. The purpose of this study is I'm going to be looking at the communication of emergency services team and also Micron. That's also going to be testing their culture and seeing what works well, what doesn't work well with their communication. Another purpose of this is to see if their communication, their culture aligns with their standards as a company that they portray out there on the internet. The topic area, like I said, is going to be only internal communication with the emergency services team and Micron as a whole and with their culture as a whole. The research questions I'm going to be focused on is their culture living up to the standards of their company's policy? How good and effective is their communication? How does that affect their culture? And also, what is their culture like in general? The methods of getting my data are from my dad, who works at Micron. He works with the emergency services team. He's higher up in that, so he has a lot of knowledge. He's been working there for over 20 years, so he has a lot of knowledge of the past and present of this, and also just online research as well. To start with communication, Micron is a very big company. The site in Boise itself has 9,800 employees, but they also have over 30 different other locations across the whole entire world. So communication is very essential when it comes to that. And usually how they do communication is throughout meetings. Meetings can be with different work sites to work sites, or it can even and more so focus just on the Boise site. Meetings usually just relay information, think about big ideas, and make big decisions in the meetings. The information usually comes from the top down. Um, so my dad, he's a higher up. He'll have a meeting, like a weekly meeting with his boss, and then he'll have a two every 2 weeks he'll have a meeting with her boss, and then he'll have weekly bi meetings with or bi-weekly meetings with the people that report to him, and they'll have meetings with the people that report to them once a week. So there's a ton of meetings that go around, and that's how the communication is mainly processed through. And I notice in these meetings they can be pretty lengthy, pretty a lot of people per meeting, and that's a challenge because people sometimes will check out of the meetings and not be fully focused in what's going on. And I think that's something that they could really improve on is maybe narrowing down the meeting to be more specific. But they also love to have everyone's input and thoughts, so they leave it open to the table for people to talk as well. So that also takes up some time. I looked at also the pre versus post COVID kind of communication, and that's mainly going with gone to Zoom meetings. People working remote has make it definitely difficult for the emergency services team, as most things there are hand on. COVID testing, stuff like that is all hand on, so that has made it pretty difficult for them. And then communication with diversity is also something else that the company has to deal with different backgrounds, different cultures, different languages from different sites across the whole entire world. That also results into different ways of thinking. So the communication has to be open-minded, and more so in a way of, receiving information with an open mind and then delivering yours with an open mind and heart as well. Um, Moving on to the culture aspect of it, Micron thrives on their culture. They pride on it. They rep it. They believe that their workforce is very, very fun to work for, and it shows with how they are able to retain their employees and do some specific things I'm about to talk about right now. First of all, well, in their culture, they also do a very good job at training and teaching people on how to respond to certain things. And if they don't know, then the managers, bosses are always a phone call away to help. And I think that's something that's pretty cool. Is my dad, he can get a phone call at 10 o'clock at night and he'll still answer and look to help somebody out. The first thing that Micron does well with their culture is they reward, and rewards are a good thing, and it shows that they're being noticed. It helps also retain employees and limit high turnovers. Some things that they reward people with are flexible work hours, free lunch, bonuses, stock options, and also budget to support like the survey data that's going on at the time. I think, I mean, this helps with just feeling valued and feeling like you're a part of a company that actually cares about you and like wants you there. Another thing that they do is they have culture building activities, whether it be they have fairs that go on site where for lunch you can just walk around. You can walk around this outside area and there's a fair going on about emergency services. You get to see what they do and how they're important to Micron and stuff like that, which I think also builds cultures, helps you make new connections, meet new people. Another thing they do is with surveys. Surveys are done twice per year, so every 6 months. For each survey, they usually choose 1 to 2 items to improve on for the next 6 months, and they really try to hammer that in so the company becomes better and better within every 6 months. And then another part of their culture I thought was neat was also their problem resolution. I think they do a good job of that, where they have a 4-step process of identifying the issue, forming a plan, putting that plan into place, and then making sure that plan worked. And I think that last part is very important. Of they go back to it and make sure that it's actually working, and if it's not, then they'll make changes to, I mean, hopefully help it make it work. Communication to culture is how they're directly related to each other. Communication affects culture, culture affects the communication. And I think that's something that's very important, but something also that Micron tries to align very well to help them succeed. During the meetings, like I said, they like to hear everybody's input. So some meetings, the meetings within a boss and their little team, those are very, very talkative meetings. Everyone's kind of sharing their ideas, their input, how they feel about something. And overall, I mean, the boss makes the decision, but it's cool to hear everybody's input and that they actually care about everybody. Something that makes Micron have effective communication, which leads to their culture, is consistency. They're uh, they're able to have effective and productive communication, but consistently throughout time. Their weekly meetings they don't miss. Their bi-weekly meetings they don't miss, and they're consistently talking about what they can do better. Having their 6 month surveys, they don't miss on those. That's just something that I realized that creates into their culture and has people working hard consistently, people doing their jobs consistently, not messing up consistently. I think that's something that has provided their communication culture to rise. And overall, the last bullet point, communication culture equals great success. It has made them great success, starting from a company that was a 4-person semiconductor in a basement of a dental office to now one of the highest and most sought after world leaders of making memory chips and solutions. In conclusion, I determined this was a great example of a company that I can study, as it showed me a great example of how communication should work in a big company and what the culture should be like. I think what was good was that there's good and constant communication, which leads to a better culture, which leads to great success. The culture builders were also a cool thing with fairs. They do giveaways. They have a they have a uh, the rewards, and they also do a little like a Jeopardy type, Family Feud type game virtually where they give out prizes as well. And the last thing that I want to say about Micron is that they live into their core values and statement. They truly are what they present to be online, and that is something that, I mean, gets high praise of being ethical, diverse, inclusive, and doing things the right way and working hard as well.